5 past. I mean, at this point, we can definitely just jump right into it, honestly, because we use this as a good opportunity for us to create some online content for sure, for sure. And so, I want to say, thank you for our guests for coming. Faith, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really, really exciting. And of course, we're going to a few more minutes. Once people trickle in, of course, we'll just let them in as we continue. And so, and folks,
Yeah.
wherever you're watching from, of course, thank you so much. Asante Sana. So I am Kuya Machanja, founder and MD of ArdhiHome. And tonight, we'll do something a little bit different. We just want this particular conversation to be just that, a conversation, so that folks can be able to understand exactly how Superior Homes has been so successful in the market, and then how they can help us with all our purchasing needs, and provide us some good examples of how a successful purchase actually works from the abroad and purchasing homes in Kenya. And so I'll jump into our next slide here. And so I think for us, again, more conversation than anything. We do not want to make this a sales pitch. It's more about making sure that our folks understand what that process looks like. And that is very, very important. And so the way tonight will flow, I think we'll probably go through this fairly smoothly, which is excellent. It's more about this is where we'll go today. We'll talk about what we both stand for in terms of the shared values between Superior Homes and an ArdhiHome. And then we will hear, hopefully, a real diaspora story, Faith, where, kind of walk us through something from the first call to keys in hand. And then we'll get into how to think about property building as wealth in terms of, you're not just buying a home someday, but you're actually investing in your future. And then we'll do a quick tour of some of the few developments that Superior Homes has, and then open it up to the floor for any live Q&A questions from the team and the group, and then we'll hopefully wrap it up on time. So let's jump right into it. And so let's bring in our guest. And so Superior Homes is a family-owned business, 20 years in currently, and honestly, one of the names that really helped define what the master plan community idea is in East Africa, especially with the Green Park project that started. I think you guys have 700 homes plus right now. I was able to tour the facility. It's amazing. The place is beautiful. There are obviously families living there right now because the project was completed quite a while ago. And you've been quietly selling to the diaspora ever since the beginning. And so joining me tonight is um, Faith Mutio. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the head of sales, I think assistant head of sales, if I'm not mistaken. So karibu sana, Faith.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
It's good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you as well, Kuya, for having me. Quite excited to interact with the audience tonight or this morning.
Yeah, it's morning somewhere. It's morning somewhere, and it's night somewhere too. So we're all good. We're all good. And Faith,
Yeah.
before we talk business at all, I just wanted to understand the heart of it. So trust for us is definitely the whole reason. Especially we're working together. So let me just ask you plainly. So, what made you want to work with RD Home?
Right, first and foremost, I think, as you can see, the shared values. Any moment you think about investment, you want to put yourself, or rather, believe that your property is in the safe hands. So first and foremost, how you get to know about your property, if you go to ArdhiHome, you know that this is a team that's very transparent, and they will lead you to very transparent developers. When I talk about transparency, is from knowing what's the location of the property, what's the selling process, how do I get my title, is the developer accountable? Because accountability matters, because then if Home refer you to Superior Homes, then it means you gotta hold them accountable for referring you to a really good developer. So I think part of those are the shared values and also a long-term relationship between ourselves. And yeah, I think that's one of the things that I'd say we share in common, and that's why we were very much open to partnering with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Faye, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think obviously you want to work with people that you have those shared value with. That way, the customer gets the similar experience from the very beginning, all the way till the end. And so when we talk about like the diaspora buyer, what do you think diaspora buyers actually get wrong about developers? And what do you wish they understood?
Um, Firstly, I think diaspora buyers are very cautious when looking to invest property back home, whether they're Kenyans or not. And I think one thing they really don't get about developers is that they're quite really nice developers out here, like ourselves, and I think other partners you have as ArdhiHome, and they need to trust the people who probably refer them to a certain developer and hold them accountable. But there's quite really nice developers out here that are doing a brilliant job. It's not everyone who is out there to scam you, of course, and that's why in the last session we had lawyers who took you step by step on how to own property, what is required before you own property, what you need to check when you're doing a due diligence. So as long as you tick all those boxes, you're good to go.
Absolutely.
Wherever you are, whether in the country, diaspora, wherever corner of the continent you are, yeah.
Actually, that's a great segue into the next question that I had for you, Faith.
Mm.
Especially we're talking about doing right by the client, right? So to be able to provide all
Yeah,
those mechanisms for them to protect themselves, in terms of like the
yeah.
lawyers, and then with Superior Homes, of course, you guys have a complete end-to-end process of actually how you walk the buyer through the process of buying with one of the developments. And so if you would actually be gracious enough to talk to us about what does that actually look like from day to day, when let's say, what does doing right by the client look to Superior Homes, especially
So
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
especially for diaspora buyers.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, how it looks like is quite simple. The moment you have details about our property, like we have properties in Nairobi, at the coast, we have different properties, or whichever other property you're looking at, then you're looking to identify, or rather narrow down to the specific property you would be interested in, be it a plot where you can develop for yourself, whether it's a house, is it a 3 bedroom, a 4 bedroom, a 5 bedroom unit? Does it match your budget? And also the payment plans that we're offering. That way, we're able to narrow down and at least help you identify the best unit that suits you. And then when it comes to things like payment plan, these are things that are discussed day to day. It depends, they vary rather from client to client. So, in as much as we get to discuss some of these things, or they're set out as you hear fixed prices, someone would ask you, negotiate, are they negotiable? Things like those. So, all these terms we get to discuss and then get the rate of it even before you commit. So, yeah.
I love that. I love it. I think that is the beauty of being in the business for 20 years, right? Like, you guys have created a process that actually works. You worked with customers,
Yes.
for such a long time. You understood their pain points, and then you've streamlined all of
Mhm.
that. And so I think, having met you in person, and like when it came to Green Park over there. The officers met yourself, the team. Well, I don't think I met you. I met Clive, Edna,
Like,
and Ian. And just it's a professional environment, and really enjoyed kind of touring. Even Lucania, for example, was very, very beautiful. And the options you provide the buyer, just really, really great. And so we can jump into our next essentially segment here. And we know that statistics don't really move anybody, so especially with this demographic. And stories really do, stories do make a lot of sense, and that is basically just a human a human thing. So I'd love for you to
Yeah.
kind of take us inside like one real family's journey, someone in diaspora who bought through you. If you have such a story, and just kind of like how actually that went through, that way folks can actually understand this is real life, and this is how we kind of handheld one of our customers.
All right, great. In real estate, we say stories sell more. So one story, myself, someone else. But just before I dive into the story, I think it's important to mention that across our projects, about 30 to 35%, 30 to 40%, let me say 35% of our buyers or investors are actually diaspora. They could be Kenyans in diaspora, they could be foreigners, but they form a really huge number. And wow, as I was trying to just think about a story, it's taken me to Pazuri. And this photo you are projecting is actually a house in Pazuri. Pazuri is a project in Vipingo, and this is in the Kenyan coast. Um, I had a client who just did an email inquiry through the website, and they had heard about Superior Homes, the pioneer project, which is called Green Park before, and they were a bit curious, so I think they got on the website and they sent an email inquiry saying, "Hello, this is my number. Please get in touch with me. I'd be interested in a 4-bedroom villa." Yeah, it was actually a 4-bedroom villa in Pazuri at Vipingo. So I happened to be the one who got in touch with the client. No physical history, no physical contact. So I got in touch with them. We planned a Zoom meeting, discussed the project in detail. It was actually around the same time, around 7 p.m. And we got to discuss in detail about an hour and a half there about asking all the questions. The following day, we did a virtual tour. At that time, I was at Pazuri at the site. Well, we did a virtual tour, typical video. It was their morning. We did a video call. I showed them through the unit, around the estate. And so they had a glimpse of really what was going on at the site. At that time, the houses were under construction because that project is more or less like an off-plan project. So they needed to know where's the location. So I had to explain to them, look, this is how the map is looking like. This area is more elevated. We got to the depth of even getting the contours, where you're able to read and know this is a highly elevated area and this is, a lower elevated area. So yeah, all those factors we did a few modifications to the unit. And one discussion after another, within a week, they had made the booking deposit and secured the slot they were interested in. Now, that's just a 10% into the discussion. Now the real transaction started. So since it was the construction had not yet started, we started the construction. We would share progress photos. Their lawyer was in copy. So as we're constructing on one side, on the other side, the legal is doing their work. We work with really nice legal team. So they got in touch with the client's legal as they handle paperwork. And things like the sale agreement, the lease documents have to be signed. Do I say with ink and couried to Kenya? So yeah, some of those documents are that key. So we got all that done concurrently as the house is the ongoing construction. 9-10 months later, the unit was done. At this point, they had not come to the country. So 3 months before they came, they sent their relative, who was based at the coast then, just to have a glimpse of the unit and just see if everything is in order. So before they came, the unit was ready. So they were sort of coming to look at the finished product and maybe just identify 1 or 2, 3 things that they probably like added here and there. But yeah, they come 10 months later, the unit was ready. and they started to furnish it. So we did a handover, and this is a holiday home in Vipingo. So for them, it was supposed to work like this. So if they're in the country, they get to use the unit. If they're out of the country, then we can manage it for them, and they still get an income. To date, I don't think they go into their pocket to pay things like service charges, utility bills, things like those. And it's been a, I'll call it I don't want to call it a transaction, but the home ownership journey went on quite well, despite the original contact being online, never meeting, and the transaction went quite well. They did their due diligence even before signing the sale agreement. They had their lawyer who did the due diligence, and when they were good to go, that's when they put in the 10%. Usually there's that booking deposit, about 250,000 that you put in to reserve the unit, and then as you do due diligence in about a month or so, then you do a slightly bigger top up, 10 to 20%. So yeah, all that to date. Just the other day, I personally got a reservation for that unit. I called the lady, the homeowner. She's called Diana, and she took the reservation and they got paid. And they have a housekeeper on ground, although we also have our team on the ground, like and a hospitality. In as much as we're in real estate, we also have a hospitality department, which helps us handle, that bit of reservations, how to check in your clients. So yeah, it was quite well smoothly. We write to them an email anytime we have a reservation, and yeah, it goes on like that. So from a website inquiry that came to your email, I picked up to now a very successful transaction. They've even ended up referring their uncle also in Seattle who's ended up buying. So I think that's one story that just utterly came to my mind. But we have a lot, very many stories. I could be here for 2 hours giving you the stories.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It just shows that the process journey that you created for the
Yeah.
customer is pretty seamless, and you're able to really make them feel safe and secure with their purchase and all the money that they're earning. And you really answered a lot of the questions that I may have had. But I suppose when it comes to, since you've had so many experiences with diaspora buyers, and just buyers in general, Faith, what is
Mhm.
the biggest fear you hear from buyers abroad, or just again buyers in general? And how did your team kind of put them to ease? I think you've given us a little bit of some snippets of how you actually handle those fears. But you have just somebody's always scared of X, and this is kind of how we deal with it.
Okay. Off head, the first fear diaspora buyers have is buying into off-plan properties,
Mm,
whether it's apartments or standalone villas. They fear a lot to buy into off-plan properties because they're not certain the developer will actually complete the development. And
mhm,
so, what we have done as Supremums, and I see this also in different developments. So, you see, an off-plan project sort of helps or helps you pay up for this unit for a slightly longer period of time. Could be a year, could be 2 years. But now on our end, since this is standalone units, this is a villa that takes roughly a maximum of 1 year to be completed, worst case. So on our end, what we do to make sure the client is comfortable, to even proceed with the transaction despite being off plan, we peg all our installments on milestones, right? So
mhm.
if you do the first, let's say 10%, the second installment, which is like 20%, for instance, or if it's a further 10%, we
Yep.
will include it in the agreement that this is pegged on a certain milestone. So until we achieve that milestone as a developer, then that's the only point you can pay. So you can verify, you can get photos, you can send somebody to view on your behalf, you can send your advocate. So all of those are pegged on milestones just to make sure you're not paying for a house and hoping one day it will come up and that
Mhm.
the house is indeed coming up. I think the other fear is uh, is that you might send your relative to go view a house on your behalf. and then they end up conning you, actually relative or even a friend or an acquaintance. They'll be like, can I trust this person with my property? This is a million, like 5 million, 10 million property. That's not with money. So they really are not certain. Who do I trust? Do I even trust my lawyer at this point? So there's that bit that some of them insist to come and see the property themselves when they're in the country, but then it might take a bit long time. Someone might be here once in a year. So I think I see that a lot, although when now the legal part comes in, we're able to, when the client has a lawyer, then I see most of the transactions flow quite smoothly. But also, most importantly, the first point you talked about, trust. It's about dealing with a reputable developer and someone trustworthy, someone you share quite good values, and you know they're going to deliver.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think those two are at the top of my head.
I think that makes a lot of sense, honestly. Like, and that's why we're creating what we're creating. Honestly, we really want for people to truly, truly not have to worry about talking to their relatives or friends. You want this to be a pretty smooth process. You know, some of us do like anonymity. You know, if I'm buying a property over there, you want to surprise your mom maybe or something. You know, you don't have to send your auntie to go and have a look at it. You're like, okay, let me just purchase this, but then you need to trust the process. In fact, those stories are many and plenty. So I don't even want to jump into that, but definitely, I think the way you guys work is really the way I think folks over here really like. People, when you go and buy a house, um, you actually the process is very streamlined, and then you rarely second guess. Am I able to trust this person? Can I trust my escrow person? Is my lawyer gonna up and leave with my money? Those stories, well, they might be there. It's not something like you hear here often. So truly, thank you for walking us through that, Faith. Think that is exactly what people really want to hear, and what really matters most. Quite honestly. So that was awesome. Let's switch gears a little bit, and we'll go into maybe building wealth, building wealth. So I think folks do think about this a little bit or maybe a lot. A lot of our community sees this as maybe one day I'll build back home. But I honestly think it's a little bit bigger than that. And so it's about building something that really lasts long, for your children and for the next generation. And so I'd want to say a lot of our audience, perhaps, and of course, folks have an opportunity to speak and ask questions, may think of this as buying a home someday. How should they be thinking about it as from like an investment standpoint? Because I think that might be something that perhaps actually hits home a little bit better.
All right, brilliant. So for someone thinking, I want to invest back home one day, you obviously want something that will give you back your investment, or rather, we look at the different appreciation drivers, starting with location. All right, so just the developer aside, now we're talking about the property. You have first of all to look at the location of the property. Is it near major infrastructure that will be key to you? Is it maybe there's an upcoming road like now we have the expressway linking Westlands to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Properties along Mombasa Road have now shot up in terms of appreciation. The value has come really up just because of the road that's coming up. So, say you were looking to buy property on Mombasa Road, for example, around the time the expressway was coming up, then you're likely to consider that this road is coming up in this section, and so if I put my money here, get a plot, get this 2-bedroom maisonette, or 3-bedroom maisonette or a 1-bedroom apartment, then very soon when this infrastructure is done, then it's going to make your property appreciate. Secondly, the timing. You look at the timing in terms of many aspects. When are you looking to move back? And also, when can you invest? So you may be looking at building a home. So you first buy the plot, like the way we do have in a gated community. Apart from houses, we also sell plots. You can consider buying a plot and say you'll be moving back, let's say in about 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So looking at the timing, that you plan to move back or settle back or just do your home at that time and point, you also consider the timing so that then you're not getting yourself into, because you find some developers give you a timeline for construction. For instance, like we do, if you buy a plot right now in somewhere like Green Park, Kenya, which is just next to Green Park, we will give you 3 years to build. So you see, making an investment in such a property might not make sense if at all you will not have built in those 3 years, or if you'll not be ready to be constructing in 3 years. So timing is quite key. And then what's the rental projection? Because if you're not living in that house, then you might need to rent it out until you probably come back. What rental terms are you looking at? What's the management like? Is there somebody who's going to be managing it for you? Is there a management company in that estate you're looking to invest into? And then you're looking at different portfolio from plots to one-bedroom apartments to duplexes to penthouses to standalone villas to maisonettes. There's a lot. There's a lot in the market. You need to narrow down to at least something. And then there's just common mistakes you need to look at to avoid. Avoid the wave of everybody is buying a plot in such and such a location. If it doesn't work for you, just narrow down to what actually works for you. And many other things. You could be looking to get a family home. For your own family, or like Kuya was saying, for your mom or for your parents back here. So then you have to look at a few insights here and there. Whether you're thinking to buy now, in the next year, in the next future. So those are just a few of the things that then you get to look at before you narrow down to what actually works for you, or as you plan to start investing. One last thing, if probably you're looking at something which you can be paying, bit by bit, there is quite a number of developments, and I know Claire here can guide, and those that you even partnered with that probably have 1 year payment plan, 2 year payment plan. Those are quite good ones if you get that are able to allow you to pay, sort of like installments, 10%, 20%, hopefully like every quarter. And then by the time you're moving here, you finish paying for the unit and you just come back, furnish the unit and move in. So yeah, just a few of those things. But mostly, like you can see, location, infrastructure, the rental income, and diversifying in different assets, not just buying a plot today and then the next one you buy a plot and the next one a plot. You can try you can try a villa next, and an apartment here and there. So yeah, diversification as well.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much again, Faith. I think, kind of walking through those different experiences of, hey, this could be a good option for you. Maybe you should start here, but go there. I think those are things that a lot of us definitely would love to sit down and understand, especially if you've been away from home for such a long time. So I think that's why it's really important to have partners like yourself who deals with a gambit of people from different walks of life. And so somebody can actually tell you their story and you can really, really match them very well with, exactly what they want. And so from a partnership standpoint, you guys are phenomenal. And honestly, thank you for, again, just kind of imbuing us with all this knowledge. And so it should not be for free, Faith. You guys got to start charging people for this types of things. Uh, but thank you for going through that with us. We can jump into perhaps the next segment here. And it's just the fun part, the fun part. So, I mean, again, we don't want like a sales pitch here, but I want people to kind of see what's out there and imagine themselves in it. So, Faith, if you would be as gracious enough to kind of give us a quick tour of, some of I think we only have the 4 listings on our platform
Yes.
here. Feel
Yeah.
free to kind of, walk us through them, the different price points, just, different differences here, what it is, where it is, who is it for, and one thing that makes each one of these special.
Oh, so first off, with Pazuri and Vipingo, this is the one I've given the interesting story about the diaspora clients. We have a good number, close to 50%, in this project that are clients that are diaspora. Pazuri works for a holiday maker. If you're within the Kenyan coast, Vipingo is really coming up at the Kenyan coast, so we thought to do something down there. It's a 100-acre piece of land. We have sold out phase 1, phase 2. Now we're looking at phase 3. So we've got, as you can see, that's a 4-bedroom villa with a flat roof. So it's really portraying the coastal vibe. And holiday matches. So some of them come with swimming pools. So it's perfect for a holiday maker. If you're looking for a holiday home, that would be perfect. In Pazuri, we also have plots for sale where you can buy the plots and then develop on your own. And then when you're around, when you're in the country, you can utilize the house. When you're away, you can rent it out, and we can help you manage that. And then the next photo, you can see the ocean. That's called Kilifi Creek. So the project is called Sunset Creek, Kilifi. So Vipingo and Kilifi are not far off. It's like a 20-minute drive or 15, 20-minute drive. And you can see the project is at the creek. So it's really highly elevated. So you've got beautiful views there. Again, if you're looking to now build your own holiday home, these are purely plots, unlike Pazuri, which is a mix of houses and plots. Sunset Creek Kilifi is a 1/4-acre plots, ranging from about 5 million. We have 5, 6, and 7 million plots, 1/4-acre plots, where you can buy and build your own home. If you're far, probably the team could recommend really nice contractors to develop your house for you. But here, those are nice 1/4-acre plots touching the creek at the ocean in Kilifi. So this is just before you get to Kilifi. So those are for the plots. And just to mention, this development is fully controlled. So we don't just allow any kind of construction. We give you guidelines, and your architect uses those guidelines to do the drawing, which you then send to us. Our internal design team approves before you start construction. So it's quite controlled. You would not fear that you put your nice house in your plot and the next neighbor will come and do different things. So it's only a single residential units allowed there. So we have those 2 projects at the coast. And then here in Nairobi, we have Lukenya Plains. It's in Machakos County, but it's more like Nairobi, not quite far. It's on Mombasa Road, 20 minutes from the airport. So it's 172-acre piece of land where we're doing similar to our very first project, Green Park Estate. So we're doing maisonettes and villas, 3, 4, and 5 bedrooms. And also we've got plots for sale as well, controlled. So those are going for 9.98 million. And here in Lukenya, similar to Green Park, you can see the beautiful, those are real photos, by the way,
Yes.
like what you can see there, that's a 3-bedroom maisonette with a DSQ, and that should cost you around 22.5 million shillings, and it's sitting on 1/8 of an acre. So we have mostly maisonettes, villas, and we also have plots in Lukenya. So it's a nice gated community. By the way, just to let you know about all our projects, we focus on master planned gated communities. In fact, we're the leading developer in master planned gated communities, large master planned gated communities. There's no any other developer in the country who is doing, who has done rather 700 units, standalone villas and maisonettes, not apartments, standalone villas and maisonettes, apart from superior homes. So that's our main focus. We've understood how to do such estates. Like you said, Korea, we've been in the business for 20 years, so you can only expect a really, really good estate to come up. So that's Lukenya Plains on Mombasa Road. And then we've sold out phase 1. Now we're moving to phase 2. And the last one on the right is in Kiambu County. But also in terms of the road, this was on Thika Road in a place called Northland City. So the project is called The Orchards. And just by the name, we've got fruit trees, by the way, where every homeowner will be planting fruit trees, hence the name The Orchards. It's a smaller property. It's 25 acres within the larger Northland City. And here we're doing, again, family homes, 3-bedroom, 4 bedrooms, and 5. Now we have 5 bedrooms here. We do not have plots. And these are ranging from around 27 million all the way to 46 million for the 5-bedroom. And we have 4 bedrooms at 35 and 40 million. This mostly targets the buyer who is looking to be slightly closer to the city, but in a very serene environment. Northlands is quite serene. This is where there's a famous Peponi School. For those who know, that's an international school, as well as Brookside. So it's a very exclusive community, as we are the only developer there. So the orchards, like I said, it's a small gated community because it's just 25 acres, unlike these others, which are 100 plus. And yeah, we continue to add more. We're hoping to add more to your portfolio very soon with the new project coming up.
Fantastic. I mean, it is such a beautiful lineup, Faith, and I'm sure we'll definitely distribute some more materials after the call. You had already shared some of those items, and so that way, our audience can definitely get a peek as to where they could be living, some of the beautiful investment opportunities, and some of the beautiful homes that could be there, and all the plots as well. So I mean, truly beautiful. And thank you for walking us through that. And then now we jump into the Q&A session. It's definitely anybody's turn to raise their hand up and ask any questions. You can ask Faith anything, of course, within reason. Faith, if you have $1 million, that is my first ask. Just put that in my bank and we'll be good from here. And so you can definitely drop your questions in the comments section or in the chat, or you can definitely come off mute. Definitely encourage coming off mute, because it's a small forum here. You're amongst friends, and I'm sure Faith will be more than happy to answer any questions. So I'll open it up to the floor. Somebody, please ask any questions to Faith or us. Anybody. I cannot see the chat. There's the chat. Okay. But Faith, I have a question for you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
With the financing options, I think you had mentioned those a little bit earlier. How does that work? I know you said maybe you could do it like in tranches. So you have like maybe the initial deposit, and then you kind of toll gate it, as it were, right? So when you go to like 20%, it's because the foundation is done, for example, or something like that. And then
Yes.
the second piece would be, roofing is completed, you give another 20% and whatnot. But is that really just the crux of it? And is that how you kind of do all of them? I know with like the land might be a little bit of a different story as well, but we'd be happy to just understand like the financing options and then like those timelines. But I know you touched on it a little bit, but maybe that could be one to just clarify for me personally.
Yeah, let me just go through our payment plans because different payment plans work for different projects, and these different projects might be in different stages of construction. If I'm talking about a house, you could have a house which is starting today, construction starts today. You could have another house which is 50% constructed, and you could have another house which is 90% done, right? So depending on how soon you want to move in, we have something for everyone. Should you want to move in within a month or two, then we have a payment plan where we call the cash payment plan, where you just do the entire payment and then 10% on handover. That's like 90%, and then 10% on handover. Or we do a 3-month payment plan, each month about 30%. That's if you want to move into the project quite soon, into the house. And this is typically a house that's ready to move in, right? Now, the next one, which is the most common one, is the installments. Now, this installments, in as much as there are milestone-based, foundation level, fast floor, slab level, roofing level, and all of that. We also do that depending on the stage of construction where the house is at. So if the house is at like 50%, then we can work out installments for you, curate them for you specifically for that house, which is at like 50%. So we can do maybe like a 6 to 8 month payment plan. If the house is just starting now, then we can do, say, a 12 to 15 month payment plan. So we curate different payment plans based on how soon you'd like to move in and where is the house at. Is it just starting to get constructed? Is it a complete unit? You know, what's happening around the house and what's the possible timeline for you to move in. Then we curate a payment plan for you. Now, on financing, we've partnered with obviously different banks, or you, as long as your financial is okay to finance with you, we are open to take that. We usually just ask for minimum of a 20% deposit, 10 to 20% depending on the project, and then the 80 or 90% the bank can finance, or your employer, even SACCOs. We have clients being financed by SACCOs, banks, employers, name it. But we also do financing, but in partnership with different banks and SACCOs. And now, how does it work when you're paying from abroad? I think it's quite straightforward, because if you're doing installments, for instance, everything will be agreed upon from the letter of offer, from the sale agreement, on how the payments are going to go, if they're going to be milestone based, and what is the project completion timeline or tentative timeline for completion. So I think hopefully that explains in a nutshell when it comes to the different payment plans.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's good. That's good because, in terms of optionality, I think that is very, very critical, because, not everybody has like the big lump sum of money where they can purchase something with cash. But, I think if you have like, the 12 months, 18 months or something like that, that really makes it a little bit more achievable. And, like those milestones are ones that one can really hit. And I see we have Juliet, aka my mother. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to hear what we've just been informed today. My question is, so I could be wrong, but from my understanding, it seems like by the time I'm actually moving into the house, I should have completed the payments, correct?
Precisely.
Yeah, I'm asking, by the time I'll have finished, by the time I'm moving into the house, if I was to buy a house with you guys, by the time I'm moving in, I should have finished my payments, or do we continue having a payment plan even after I have moved into the house?
All right, great. Yeah. So by the time you're moving into the house, by the time we're doing a handover, you need to have completed the payments. But I see this is just for our developments. A few developers though do something called rent to own, where you pay, say, like a 20%, and then the balance you pay while inside the house. For us, we've not done that before, but I've seen a few developers do that. But for us, that's why we're able to do a flexible payment plan, so that then we can stretch it out a bit to make sure then you finish the payment before we hand over the house.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
That's awesome. And we have a question in the chat. Says, thank you, Fidel, for dropping that in there, sir. It says, hello, Faith. Do you help in educating your clients who perhaps want to buy a property but do not know the terrain well? Or do you just facilitate the buying process? And if yes, is that an extra charge or part of the service you offer to every client? And could you speak a little more on your hospitality department and how the same integrates into the property buying process? That is a great question, Fidel.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Fidel. I'll go with the first question. If we help in educating our clients who want to understand the terrain, yes, we do. We usually, in conjunction with our design and architect team, we get the entire master plan showing the different terrains, and you're actually able to see this is a highly elevated area and this is on a slopey area. So there's different plans we use, and we can take you through to understand how high is this area compared to a different place. The next one is is that an extra charge or part of the services we offer? We offer that to any potential prospect, any clients. We offer that. We don't charge extra to take you through that. Could you speak a little more on your hospitality department and how the same integrates into the property buying process? So the hospitality department mostly links to the Pazuri and Ripingo project, the holiday home, where it's a merge between hospitality, real estate and hospitality, where you buy the house, but then the hospitality department comes in to manage the house for you. This includes things like actually sourcing the client for you, managing the house for you in terms of housekeeping, replenishing items that have run out, and a few other in-house things, checking in your guests. That's where our hospitality team comes in, so that to make sure if you're renting out your unit, say for a week or a weekend, then your guests are well taken care of. You have someone to sort them out in case of anything. And so that's where our hospitality department comes in. So if we are the ones who've gotten you the client, we charge you a 10% for that facilitation, and that goes to our hospitality department. So that's the kind of integration we have between when you buy the property within Superior Homes, and still within Superior Homes is a hospitality department to help take care of your reservations. Case in point, the holiday homes in Vipingo, mostly that. I hope I've answered your questions.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right. And I think thank you, Fidel. Any other questions for Faith?
Yeah, do we have these houses listed on ArdhiHome's website?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if I'm interested in one of the apartments or one of the houses, what would be my next step? Do I just go on there, look for who the realtor is, and start the process?
Yeah, so the process is fairly simple, obviously. You can reach out to ArdhiHome for sure. We would sit down with you, understand exactly your needs, your budget, which property do you want. So for our goal is to make sure you get the best experience. So once we understand one of the developments with Superior Homes that you absolutely like, we would engage Faith and her team and do a warm introduction where we kind of do basically a three-way call, make sure we completely understand your needs, understand your timelines, all that good stuff. And then Faith would essentially walk you through their process when it comes to what the next steps would be. Of course, as Faith rightfully said, that due diligence phase, if it's a tour for you in terms of doing a video tour, Faith can organize those types of arrangements. If you want one of the family members to go, they would be able to go and do that for you. And then after that, if you feel comfortable, we continue to the due diligence phase where, you engage a lawyer and start all that good paperwork that Faith was talking about. What does the contract actually look like? Are you going to pay in cash? Are you going to pay over an X amount of time? And so that is how the process would essentially start until we proceed all the way to close.
Thank you.
Great question. Great question. Any other question? Any other questions? And now we have about 8 minutes
There's a
here.
question from, is it Madrin?
Madrin, yeah.
Yeah, right. What features do diaspora buyers consistently request that local buyers may not prioritize? Are you seeing greater demand? Okay, let me just go question by question. Thanks, Madrin, for your question. What features do diaspora buyers consistently request that local buyers? I think you meant, local buyers may not prioritize. What? I think with most of our developments being open gated communities, I think this reflects a lot what is in diaspora, if I'm correct, Queer.
Correct. I think,
Yeah, so
yeah, to even just opine a little bit more on that, I think a lot of us and well, a lot of the folks that are out here, everything is almost master planned, in the United States, for example. And so when it comes to even a city, you have like the city of Plano, or Prosper, where I live, where it is a master plan for the whole city. So you know exactly before the council approves this thing, this is where they're going to be building residential, this is where they're going to be building office space. And so I think with Green Park, as you guys saw, with the success of that, it's that people really like to know, okay, within this community here, what are all my amenities? And I love the fact that you guys also provide schools. Sometimes, you have like a shopping mall where, when it comes to
yes.
just the ease of access, it's really, really convenient. Then, you pick your location so well, Faith, when it comes to accessibility as well. And so I think those are the things that everybody really wants, to have good access to be able to get on the tollway, to be able to take their kids to school with ease, to be able to get food immediately. My auntie was telling me, she can't live in like some particular areas where, the shop closes at 9 p.m. She's like, "Boss, what if I need to eat and I'm hungry at 10 p.m.? I want to go real quick to the local place." So I think you guys have really thought about all those things that make that master plan community a success, and that's why you're obviously very successful in that. So I'd say the master plan communities are just the things that we really like, and provide that security for us.
And on that last bit of security, it gives you the comfort. So if you travel back to the United States, and you can actually leave your home, just lock it, and you will find it the same way you left it. So that security bit, and many more advantages of being in a gated community, which we offer. Second one was that you see greater demand for service plots, apartments, mixed-use developments, or holiday homes. I think it's a mix of each, and that's why we have projects like Sunset Creek, that's for service plots. And even within developments where we're doing housing, we also have service plots. We've not entered into the apartment realm of real estate, hopefully very soon. Mixed-use development, we have instance like Green Park, where we have office space. In the master plan, we've got a hotel, we have schools, we have a shopping area, so all that in the master plan. And then holiday homes, we have that in Missouri. Lastly, how do you balance affordability with the premium expectations of diaspora investors? One thing for sure, they say cheap is expensive, so we don't like to take that route, and so we offer quality and premium development. And so depending on the location and the size of the house, we indeed give it the best price possible. So that's how we're able to balance that. And also we give you an option, should you not be able to get the 25 million house or 30 million house, within the same development, you can buy a plot at 8 million, for example, and then build it on your own, at your own pace. And you still be able to enjoy all the resources the other people are enjoying, those who've bought houses or those who haven't bought plots.
Fantastic. Faith, thank you so much. We're coming up to a close here, and there was a question that was asked from our last meeting, and I wanted to answer that from ArdhiHome's perspective. Somebody asked, how does ArdhiHome actually make money? And so that is a wonderful question, because it does matter. And so ArdhiHome earns a success fee essentially. So from the developer, or the agent, but only when a sale actually closes, So you as the buyer, you don't pay us anything extra, and that's very important. And it is a deliberate thing. So it means that we only make money when you actually get the home you wanted safely. And so we're not paid to pay essentially to push listings at you. We're paid when a real family ends up with the keys in their hand. And so our incentive and your points are literally the exact same and going to the same direction. And that's pretty much the whole model. So I know that was asked in our previous webinar. Just wanted to address that just in case folks are wondering, what's in it for ArdhiHome.
I'm sorry, Kuya. Sorry, I'm coming up with so many questions around this time.
No problem.
I still have a question for Faith because one of the things that people from the diaspora worry about a lot is the utilities. When I talk about utilities, I'm talking about electricity and water because the last time I was in Nairobi, I stayed with my sister. And one of the issues that we faced a lot was water and also the cleanliness of the water. It was highly contaminated. I got very sick. I almost died. The flow of the water is on and off. The flow of electricity is on and off. How are you taking care? How are you going to make sure that I'm buying a house in an area where I'm not going to face that problem of electricity for endless hours or lack of water for endless hours? And how will I be sure that the water that is going to flow into my house is as clean as it can be? I don't have to worry about having another form of purifying the water that is coming into my house.
Great. That's a great question. And I'll start with the electricity. So firstly, we are in all our projects, we are connected to predominant Kenya Power, which is the Kenya Power and Lightning Company, which provide electricity in terms of a token. It's a prepaid token. So you pay as you consume. Should lights go off, we actually discourage, in our previous developments, we had a few people putting up generators, but we now discourage that. And we're encouraging buyers to go green and put up solar backup or even go off grid. So in how we support that, we've made sure the conduiting, all houses have conduiting done. Should you want to put solar even 5 years later, you will just get your solar technician and then come in and do the solar backup. So we encourage the buyers to also go green in as much as we have Kenya Power online, but we also ensure that we're connected to really reliable lines. If you look at Pazuri, for example, we're on one of the most reliable lines. Looking at Northlands, we're on a very lessly a really low dense line for electricity. So we make sure we're also connected to proper, electricity routes or lines that will serve our residents better. When it comes to water, before even the project starts, we do background checks and make sure and just have a survey in order to see how many cubic meters do we need for this project. What's the supply from the municipal? What's the supply, say, from a borehole? How clean is it? And is it able to sustain these houses even for a number of days with the water being pumped? So with that in place, we also have water reservoirs in all our projects where water pumps in first and then distributes to all other houses. And that's where we ensure it is purified, if especially borehole water. The municipal water is clean. It's clean water. So we do our background checks and make sure any water coming into the estate is actually fit for use. And then in terms of storage, so you don't lack water, we provide enough storage for each individual house. Like at the villa you're seeing there, probably has like a 10,000 liter underground tank for storage and maybe another 5,000 at the roof. So we ensure all those things are ticked before we hand over the house to you, and even before people or residents start residing in the houses.
Oh, you sold me. Thank you.
Hey, Faith, I have a question,
Welcome.
and the great explanation, by the way. Seems like you have a deep knowledge and understanding. These houses, is there a possibility to make them custom made? Or I know you were talking about a house could be 50% done, 90% done, but I'm assuming you also have an option where if I wanted a certain design, you'd be able to accommodate that, and also assuming that changes the pricing model, maybe. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. As long as the house has not progressed much, we can take a few structural adjustments. But we like to take very minimal structural adjustments at the beginning, just before the house starts or before it moves as much. We can move a few walls, but yeah, we can take a few structural adjustments as long as the external look remains the same. We can do a few internal structural changes or finishing changes that you would like to adjust. If there is a cost implication that comes with it, then you will just we will do a cost omissions versus additions, and then you'll top up the difference. So yeah, we can discuss that as long as the house is at an early stage of doing such changes. We can do minimal of those.
Thank you.
Welcome. There's a question in the chat box, Clear.
Yes. So what systems do you have in place to ensure transparency throughout the buying process for the diaspora clients? Take us through the steps from, is this an ArdhiHome question, Madrin, or a Superior Homes question? But either way, I think our process would probably be very similar to what Faith and Superior Homes do. So from our end, of course, data is very important, right? And so when we have our client meetings, we only use a couple of systems, one of them being Zoho. And so that is where we track our client journey. And so we have multiple steps we walk through. We walk the client through from initiation, the conversation, the interview process with our specific partners, and then from that particular point in time, we agree on if it's a property that they want. We make sure that we engage the legal team to make sure that we're all protected, Superior Homes as well in this scenario, and the customer. And then once we agree on those particular terms in terms of sales agreement, boom, we sign that, and then we proceed from that step to again, like Faith explained a little bit earlier, if it's a cash buy or maybe an installment buy. Once we go through that whole process, ArdhiHome in this scenario would be having touch bases with the client and to make sure that they have a very positive experience, making sure that Faith and the team, of course, are delivering upon what they say they would in terms of SLAs. And then, of course, after that, once the keys have been handed over, we can definitely move to celebration, as it were, to be able to say, hey, this is what went well. If some things that did not go well, we want to be able to address those between ourselves and our partners. And then that way, we can kind of move to the next step, which is, you yourself as a client being able to move in. Faith, anything that I may have left off from the process? Essentially, I know it's a very high level, but anything that you want to add, or we're good?
No. You described it perfectly.
Excellent. Yeah. So it's always, we want to make sure that the client is very, very happy and gets the best service. And I know we are over time, guys. Obviously, I would love to thank Faith. Asante sana. Tunashukuru, your time for today. And this is exactly why Superior Homes was, our first partner. We really wanted to put that in front, to put you in front of our community. And thank you for your time today and your honesty with answering all the questions today. So I just want to say thank you so much, Faith.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And, to everybody else watching, there's no rush, no pressure tonight. So here's all we ask. We'll send you the full recording after we edit it out a little bit. There's an FAQ. And you can kind of book a one-on-one chat. So in the email, feel free to reach out to myself and the team. We'll be able to kind of sit down with you if you have any questions about development, if you saw something you love and you want to share with, your circle. We'd be more than happy to, feel free to share this particular webinar or share our website. And again, everything will be going through ArdhiHome for now. And of course, you can reach out to Faith and Company as well, because their information is, of course, public. Superior Homes, you want to obviously Google these folks, make sure that they're credible, but I assure you they are credible. And so, we do not want you from ArdhiHome to feel like you're navigating this journey alone, especially from the diaspora. And so myself, I've visited Superior Homes, as I said earlier on the call. Beautiful folks, beautiful developments. It was awesome to be able to just kind of witness that. And Kenya is so beautiful. Like, this place is really, really beautiful. And so I want to say, just for next time, we do have a banking partner that will be joining us. So now we can jump into some of those financial discussions where, you can truly ask questions about, the money, because money is very, very important. Do you want to be banking here or banking there? Are there tax implications when it comes to purchasing a home in Kenya? All these things that we have to think about living in the diaspora. This partner that we'll be bringing on next will be really, really great. And so we'll also be moving from bi-weekly cadence. We were being very ambitious, and we'll be take some time to breathe and move this to a monthly cadence. That way, you guys can also take time to kind of breathe a little bit, be able to discuss with us. Let us know any feedback that you want in these webinars before we kind of go into some more in-person events as well in the future. And so I just want to again say thank you, everybody. And lastly, we have a referral program here where we, if you do send folks our way, we will definitely give you a referral bonus. And if you do purchase through ArdhiHome, we have like a buyback incentive as well, where, once you get a closing, we give you a little kickback as a thank you, to just say thank you for partnering with us and for trusting us throughout the journey. And so with that, I will say thank you so much, everybody. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for spending this last hour with ArdhiHome and Superior Homes. Tunashukuru sana. Asante sana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.